Here we go yet again with another recent reads. Stay tuned to figure out what I've been reading lately. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got a recent reads for you. So instead of the typical 4, I'm doing 5. Alright, so for these 5 that I have read for you, they all were pretty solid. I would say the lowest rating I think was, honestly, I think 4 stars, maybe. I think I might have had 1 or 2 5 stars in this stack here. But we will have all the links for the books down below. If you are intrigued in checking any of them out, feel free. Again, they were all really solid books. So don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and let's get to sharing my books with you. Alright, so the first book is The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. So this is book 1 in what is supposed to be the Gravekeeper series. There is a second one already labeled to be released next year. I don't remember the title of it, but there's a second one already supposed to be coming out in this series. In this, we follow the woman named Kira, I think is what her name is. And what ends up happening is the book starts out, she's being chased by what end up being strangers to us, because we don't find out who they are. And she takes refuge in this minister's like little shack cabin thing where a groundskeeper used to live in the cemetery. Well, you find out she's got the ability to talk to dead people. So, like, she gets ghosts start showing up. She starts seeing things. There's this couple ended up like way back when used to be like this really nice couple, but the father of the bride didn't want her to be with the guy, and so she the dad kept telling her, go somewhere else. And then you find out that she went into hiding and she was actually pregnant and had a child. Didn't really end too well for anybody involved in that relationship. But to present day, there's a girl that is kind of on the weirder side that is Kira's friend. And then there's a doctor who is another really nice guy who's trying to help out, but the friend who's weird and the doctor kind of butt heads all the time. And it's a really intriguing story. I think I ended up giving this 4.5 stars, possibly 4. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. But it was a really solid book, very solid read. This was a book that came out this year, and I was very excited when it came out, and finally I was able to get to it and was not disappointed. So there you have Darcy Coates and The Whispering Dead. Next book is Falling by T.J. Newman. So this was a thriller book from a Danielle recommendation. It's a really solid book. I really enjoyed it. This takes place in pretty much 2 different atmospheres, up in a plane and then, obviously, down on the ground. And what ends up happening is this pilot goes up one morning and pretty much gets this email from the stranger, and it's a picture of his family tied up and bound to a chair, his wife and his son. And pretty much is being told, you've got an option here. It's either your family or the people in your plane live. You pick. And the only thing that really was annoying was the whole concept of, we're not doing this to prove a point. We're doing this just because we can. It was a weird concept for the terrorist people who are doing this to do this. It kind of ended up being kind of a tragic story for the terrorist family that ended up taking part in this. The one guy's family gets bombed, and he doesn't like the U.S. for it, and so what ends up happening is he straps himself in bombs and he's down on the ground with the family, while I would call him a friend. A friend is up in the air in the plane trying to make sure everything goes smoothly up there the way it's supposed to. So it's supposed to be the pilot makes a pick of which one survives. He's got to do certain tasks in order to do that. There's a scene where he's got to throw a gas canister into the back of the plane and gas everybody. and he's told if anyone finds out, then everyone just dies. He ends up telling somebody, and it all hell breaks loose, and I absolutely loved this story. I think at the time I said it was like a 4.5 star, but the more I kind of thought about it, I think this is a 5-star book to me. It's a really solid story, it's a good concept, and I just absolutely loved it. So there you have The Falling by T.J. Newman. Alright, so the next two were actually in a video called Reading Two Summer Releases that actually came out very recently. So if you want to check those out, we'll have the link to that video up here. In this video, I'll kind of more talk vaguely about them and just give you my star ratings. So the first one is The Taking of Jake Livingston. This is a YA horror book and kind of an LGBTQ book as well, because the main character, Jake, is gay. He is a homosexual, and his story in this is pretty solid. I really enjoy it. His coming out, to his parents, and obviously his dad was like very pissed about it and didn't really like it. His brother, when he does come out towards the end, it's like everyone already knew about it, like secretly already knew, but nobody like really said anything. And I thought like him gaining his confidence back, I thought was really cool, and like being able to like be who he wants to be with it, I thought was really cool. But the main concept of this book is he's got this ability to talk to the dead, kind of like the woman does in The Whispering Dead. And what happens is there's two perspectives in this book kind of being told. There's like a diary of this kid named Sawyer who pretty much shot up the school and then took his own life, and his childhood was really messed up as well. He had an uncle who's really sexually abusive towards him, and the mom like was no help with it, and so he just kind of gave up on everything, and so hence what he does to the school and then himself. And it's a really solid story. Jake kind of feels the same way, just in a more racial way. This kid gets away with everything because he's a high-class white kid. I'm black. If I said anything, nothing would have been done. And it's a really cool story, and I really enjoyed the book. I want to say I'm going to give this, I think, 4.5 stars. The only other YA horror book I've read so far is Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Caesar, and that was a phenomenal book. This was a phenomenal book, and I was really excited to finally get to this and finally read it, because I know it was on a couple of TBRs, and I was not disappointed. It was a really good book. So there you have The Taking of Jake Livingston. The next book, which was also part of that reading vlog, is For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. So the only other book I've read by her is Sleeping Dogs Lie, which was it was a Audible exclusive from Amazon, and that was a really solid story, and so was this. So this is about a teacher who's got like a secret agenda. So there's this high class school where like you're really fancy, you're rich, you can get into the school, and like from there you only want to go to like the top grade schools like Harvard, Yale, Brown, like all those kind of places where it's like, yeah, you're going to go to that school and do great things because you're rich. And a lot of the teachers are past alumni from the school, except for one, this guy named Teddy. And so he was brought up what I would consider like normal circumstances, like average middle grade kind of schooling, and had to pay for a lot of his own things. And so his secret agenda is really teaching all the teachers and students a lesson, like just because you have money, that doesn't mean you can be the people you are. And one of the teachers, one of the previous students he had, whose name is Fallon, I think it was, she was this high-class person and was like, I'm going to get in all these schools, and he ended up doing like a report for her and pretty much shot all of her hopes of going to all the fancy schools down, but at the time she didn't know that. And so when she finds out, she like sends him secret emails like, F you, I'm doing this now, like I'm doing this. And the whole point was like to like make them have to go out and get things on their own as opposed to being handed them. So the main student we're following is this kid named Zach, just like me. And he basically, it kind of falls in the same circumstance. It starts out with like a parent-teacher conference between Zach's parents and him, and the teacher, Teddy, and they're like, you gave him a B plus on this paper. He needs to have only A's. Well, it was B plus work. No, you have to up his work, this and that. And it really goes against what Teddy was standing for, and a whole lot of things start going wrong early on in the book. And then even Danielle said this when she was reading it. Middle portion, kind of, there's a lot of names getting jumped around and thrown around. You're kind of losing track of what teachers are who and what's really going on. But then towards the end, you pick back up and it's, well, she hasn't finished it yet, but when you get towards the end, it picks back up and it's a really solid story. The ending was really good and I really enjoyed it. So there you have For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. Alright, the next one I read, the last one that I read recently was We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. So I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars, I believe it was. I think it might have been 5. I don't remember, but in my Grady Hendrix analysis video, check that out up here if you have not done so already. I talk about this way more than that. But the basic plot of this book is there's this rock band like early on, and they all kind of play freely, and then one of the members like strikes this deal with something, and everybody has to sign the contract. The one female character doesn't want to sign it, and eventually she does, and a lot of bad things start happening. Some of the people start kind of dying off, and people are trying to figure out why and what the hell is going on. I thought the ending was really solid. I really enjoyed this. Overall, I really enjoyed the book. It's also because I am a rock and roll fan, and so a lot of the bands they reference and talk about, I was like, yeah, I know them, and I like them. So I was very excited to get to this book. It's the last Grady Hendrix book I've read so far. I know he's got more out, but this was the 5th one I've read, and it's been one of the ones I like the most. So there you have Grady Hendrix and We Sold Our Souls. Alright guys, so these are the books that I read recently. All of them are really solid, 4 stars or higher pretty much. If you guys are intrigued with any of them, like I said, we'll have them linked down below if you want to check them out. Make sure you let me know what some books you've read recently are, and let me know what you think about them, so maybe I can put them on my TBR list and maybe give them a read. But otherwise, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.